folks, welcome to this week's Ag Report. So this week we're going to talk a little bit about the 19 billion coronavirus aid package for agriculture. You may have seen the administration announce that. I'm going to try and give you a little bit of a snapshot of what that looks like, and why. It's a very broad-reaching agricultural assistance package. There's a lot of things going on in agriculture right now. I did have the opportunity prior to this being announced to be a part of a teleconference call with Congressman Wright and Congressman Conaway. We also was able to be a part of another teleconference call with Secretary of Agriculture Sonny Perdue and White House staff prior to the announcement. So they've been working on this and trying to get feedback and get some assistance on what is going on out in the country and things like that. So let me share with you a little bit about what is going on and the effects of the COVID pandemic on agriculture. Because you may be wondering, well, why is this rolling out? So first and foremost, our food supply is an issue of national security. And we need to make sure that you truly understand that when you go to the store, purchase proteins, eggs, milk, substance for your family, to take care of your family. Now, I'm not talking about, prime cut ribeyes or things like that. I'm talking about essential needs to provide food for your family. It is crucial that our agriculture producers, whether that be milk producers, egg producers, hogs, chickens, any of those kind of things, are able to withstand what is going on. Now, let me explain kind of what's going on. It is not a shortage of food or shortage of them being able to produce the vegetables and things like that. So when the COVID pandemic and the shutdown, shelter in place started, that was around on the middle of March, something like that. That put a bubble in the supply chain. And what I mean in that description is, just like you turn on a water hose for the first time, there will be spurts of water coming out with air bubbles in there. And it takes a little while for that water to flow continuously. Well, our supply chain was flowing continuously, and producers, whether that's vegetable or eggs or beef, they were supplying continuously. Well, when this happened, it was an unprecedented change and shift in where the food was going. We all know about the restaurants and everything like that. I've shared with you before, 51% of America's food was purchased at a restaurant, not at home. And we all of a sudden went to 100% at home. So there's the bubble that happened, okay? So what has happened is those processing plants, the processors, the facilities, they are trying to reshift and redo with their packaging, with their supply chain. Therefore, they are not wanting or needing the influx of new vegetables, of new meats, of new pork, new chicken. Therefore, the price has dropped significantly because now the producers don't really have anywhere to go with it. So that's what is happening. So now you have producers, and remember, we've talked about this for 2 years now. The margins, the profits are very, very slim, okay? It's a very tight, fine line on what these producers are making on any of these crops or animals. Well, now it has dropped far below that. So these farms are losing bucketfuls of money on these animals. And that crisis right there, and literally it is, if you read about farm bankruptcies and all that kind of stuff on the rise, that is why. Because now they have all their money in these animals and they don't have a market for them anymore. They don't have a price. So they are in dire straits. Now remember, this goes back to the national security thing. If our farmers and ranchers or vegetable growers, that kind of stuff, are broke and go out of business, then you're going to see down the road a supply interruption. And so now we've gone from it's just a supply thing, but the food is there, to where the food wouldn't be there. And then that's relying on another country. And that is somewhere we do not want to go. So that is why the administration is issuing these things. This 19 billion is a very broad spectrum. It is for milk, it is for cattle, it is for hogs and chickens and vegetable growers. There's a whole lot of things in there. It is for the corn growers, because the corn market has really fell out of bed since then, because a lot of that corn goes into feed that feeds these animals. If they're not buying the animals to feed them and finish them out, then there's no market for that corn. So it's a very complex circle, a wagon wheel, you might say. And it's going to take some time for all of this to start smoothing back out, all triggered by the American people and their buying and their purchasing options and things like that. So that's why this has come out. Sign up for this. Is supposed to open on May 26th with the Farm Service Agency. They are working very hard, very diligent to get all the rulemaking in and how to proceed with this. It is supposed to be an 80% payment up front of what you're eligible for. So in other words, whatever the amount is for your particular farm or ranch, you're supposed to get 80% of that up front, and then another 20% on the back end. It is not stated at this time of when that 20% would come out. So that's going to be kind of floating around there a little bit, but they are looking to get the lion's share of it directly. And these are called direct payments because they are intended to be direct deposited in there. So again, that it is a speedy, efficient kind of a way to get it in the hands of the producers. There are limitations on it. It's $125,000 per commodity. If you're talking about corn, wheat, soybeans, that kind of stuff, with a maximum of $250,000 per producer. So if you have a producer that is eligible for 150 and 175 between corn and soybeans, he's still only going to be eligible for 250,000. Again, that helps spread that around so that everybody gets some assistance. There's also other limitations in there. If you draw more of your income off the farm than in the farm, then you're ineligible for that. They're trying to truly market this for the full-time producers that do 70-75% of their income from the farm on there. So again, lots of things going on, very complex bill, very complex rulemaking procedure. I've just kind of hit the high points. By no means am I anywhere near an expert or know anything, know everything about this, but those are kind of the high points. So if you are a Ellis County producer, I would encourage you to contact the Farm Service Agency in Waxahachie. Talk with them. You'll need to make an appointment with them. There will be some information that you will need to have at hand to start the application process so that they can kind of determine what you're eligible for, whether you raise cattle or vegetables or crops or that kind of stuff. So again, if you have any questions, reach out to the Waxahachie Sun. And most importantly, remember to contact your Farm Service Agency about these signups for this latest agriculture aid. We appreciate y'all listening. Y'all take care now.